As dungeon masters, we're constantly trying to come up with new ways to hack the game, make combat, social encounters, and travel better. In many RPG books and even here on YouTube, you're constantly being inundated by advice, and it's usually good advice. We've all seen the videos. Get rid of initiative. Get rid of hit points. How to be more descriptive. 3 tips on how to be a better dungeon master. Blah, blah, blah. Many of these videos are actually really good, and I've even produced a few. Some of these tips and tricks I've picked up and used to great success. Others, not so much. The point is that especially these videos are really telling you that you're dungeon mastering wrong. At least that's how they pull you in first. You're DMing wrong and or you're frustrated at a specific thing, here's how to fix it. Barring the idea that you personally are trying to look for solutions to a problem, if you're suggested these videos, blogs, or other places that you might get this information from, and you're taking those ideas and then implementing it in your game next week, let me just say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Ask me how I know.
Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss an upload. And join the conversation over at the Agranak Cult Discord.
I think when you're a young DM or even new to the hobby, it's good to consume these videos, ideas, and topics. Some you will use and others you won't, of course. There is no one answer to all tables. I've even found that the return of the lazy dungeon master is not nearly as lazy as I need it to be. There's still a lot of book work, at least for me. It's a wonderful place to start for new DMs, and even for old DMs. I would advise any new DM to go pick up that book. It is a treasure trove of great ideas. The one rule that I've come to rely on after playing this game for 3.5 decades is that you don't need any rules. Even Gary Gygax said, the secret we should never let the game masters know is that they don't need any rules. This comes from one of the co-creators of tabletop role-playing games. Look, if you wanted to throw out the D20 and only use D6s, you can do that. Hell, I know a guy that is developing a game that all the dice rolls are a flip of the coin. Heads you succeed, tails you don't. It's time to let go and do what you know. Oftentimes, the latest and greatest of a game, a cell phone, an iOS, even a car or truck is not necessarily your best bet. Do what you know. Obviously, if you're new to the hobby, you need to start somewhere. That's a different subject. But for those that have been playing for a little bit, do what you know. Sure, maybe you want the latest and greatest new edition and new book that's out there. That is fine too. That's the point of this. You do you. The tried and true is what you need to do. To you, that could be basic or expert D&D, first or second edition, or the most cleaned up version of the ampersand game. Black Sword Hack, Knave, Old School Essentials, Swords and Wizardry, and the ENnie Awards, 4 ENnies, I believe, winning Shadow Dark. These are simple games, take minutes to learn, and you're off and running and playing in no time. Some people love the rules-heavy games and can become a walking encyclopedia of that knowledge. That's awesome. Play those games. Again, you do you. The bottom line, the one rule is that you don't need any rules. Or maybe you need all the rules. Find out how you personally flow as a dungeon master and do that. Rules heavy, rules light, somewhere in between, it doesn't matter. The idea is to be able to get the rules inside of you so that your game table can flow. Let the rules fade into the background, into your subconscious, and be a part of the narrative. Create the story with your players. The main thing to overcome is your session prep. Whether you have a bulleted outline, a 10-page spread, or even write it on a gum wrapper. Remember, you do you. Typically, how you do this in your daily life, maybe at work or in other hobbies, will be how you want to prepare for your next game. Consume the advice, but then forget it. Let it fade into the back into your subconscious. Now, be present at your table. Watch your players' body language and react. Listen to what your players are talking about in-game and flow with it. In talking with one of my players, one of the subjects came up of how I wanted to personally make combat flow faster and be better, mostly because I was being influenced by all these other dungeon tubers. After I gave all my reasons, bullet points, and ideas after watching all of these videos, they looked at me and said, "Why? Combat doesn't need to be faster," they said. And then my reality came crumbling down. All these ideas are new, great, shiny, wonderful, but they don't necessarily fix your game. You may sit down at your table and everyone there wants tactical battles. There's not one way to play the game. That's the beauty of it. Don't just rely on the rules. Listen to what your players are saying and lean into it. Some may not want any combat. All social encounters. That's fine too. Lean into it. Gary Gygax also said this: the essence of a role-playing game is that it is a group cooperative experience. John Four from roleplayingtips.com has the wonderful 5-room dungeons, and he breaks down a session prep to look like this. Here are the ingredients. 1. Entrance and Guardian. 2. Puzzle or role-playing challenge. 3. Trick or setback. 4. Climax, big battle, or conflict. 5. Reward, revelation, plot twist. It's a really great system, and really good to know. Stuff it into your subconscious. Use it when you need it, but don't get locked into it. Just realize that these formulas could be really helpful when you're stuck, but could be stifling if you've got a great idea or narration happening in your game. Again, the key is to learn what your players want. You are creating a story together. How do you learn it? Ask them outright and play the game. It's okay, as long as all your players are on board, that a session is completely comprised of a battle, or a social encounter, or a mystery to be solved, or pimping out their newly acquired keep, or horse and carriage. In fact, some of my most memorable sessions have been just that. Play the game you and your players want to play. And every group dynamic is going to be different. If it means rules light and quick combat, go for it. If it means rules heavy and a combat takes 2 sessions, then go for that. The key is to relax, breathe, and flow. You do you. All right, thanks for stopping by Agranak Studios today. We'll see you on the next one. Later.
This video was brought to you by the generous support of our patrons. Consider becoming a patron so you can help us make more content like this. Or get yourself a t-shirt below. Later. Alright, do this and do that and do this and do that. And watch this video.